my story, Chasing Rainbows. Chapter 7, Parenthood. March the 8th, 1905. When Joseph held his tiny son in his arms, he wept for joy. He was the most perfect little baby a man could wish for. He gazed down upon the sleeping infant, and his heart swelled with pride. After a short while he carried his son to the cradle, which was made of the finest oak, and placed him tenderly within the satin-lined covers. This little boy would have the finest money could buy. Nothing would be too good for young Master Francis Joseph Parker. They had decided to name the baby Francis after Victoria's deceased father. Both of her parents had been killed in a tragic accident whilst she was away at school. Joseph bent over the bed and kissed Victoria upon the forehead. "Thank you for giving me such a wonderful birthday present, my dear," he murmured, for it was indeed the morning of his birthday, and little Francis Joseph had made his appearance into the world just after midnight. Victoria smiled serenely. "He is perfect, isn't he, Joseph?" She turned her head towards the cradle. It had been a long, difficult birth, and Victoria had never realized women had to endure so much pain. It seemed as if she were being ripped apart, and she had felt so afraid. She remembered crying out for Joseph, but the doctor had administered an injection, and she had felt herself drifting out through the window. She was out running across the open countryside, her hair blowing in the wind. Then suddenly a mist came down, and she was lost. Desperately she tried to call out to Joseph, yet somehow the words formed as whispers that drifted with the wind. She felt tears upon her face as she tried to push away the mist, was dimly aware of voices speaking in hushed tones. Then she heard the sounds of a baby crying somewhere, and she tried frantically to find it. But then the mist enveloped her. She felt herself floating through the air, and then she awoke. She remembered the daylight streaming through the window, yet surely it had been dark before. But then she was lost in the mist, crying out for Joseph, and yet he hadn't heard. As she slowly awoke, she remembered a baby crying. Yes, she could still hear it. The nurse had approached the bed and smiled as she placed the infant into her arms. "You have a fine, bonny baby boy, Mrs. Parker, and a fine, healthy set of lungs he has too." Victoria had held him in her arms, gazing upon his little face with wonder. His tiny features were perfect. He had captured her heart, and she had been filled with an overwhelming feeling of protection. Tears of joy trembled upon her eyelashes, and she silently thanked God for her precious little son. Later she had felt able to drink some hot sweet tea and nibble buttered toast. Joseph was stroking her hair and smiling at her. "Perfect and precious, my dear. Now you must rest." Victoria caught hold of his hand and pressed it to her lips. Tears glittered in her eyes. Then she sank back against the pillows and felt the weariness rush over her. Filled with contentment, she slept, and Joseph tiptoed from the room. September 1906, Liverpool. Just over a year had passed since the birth of baby Francis. He had grown into a fine, healthy little boy, just learning to take his first steps. He was a happy little soul, bursting with vitality, and already able to utter a few distinctive words. Victoria had never fully recovered her strength after the birth, and the doctor had advised her to refrain from another pregnancy. She had listened with acute embarrassment as he explained the reason. Despite the doctor's warning, she had tried to entice Joseph to her bed once she had recovered from the birth, but he refused on the grounds of her health. The doctor had told him of his wife's delicate state of health and warned of serious complications if she risked another pregnancy. She had borne him a fine son, and Joseph was content. To put her life in danger just wasn't worth the risk. So he abstained from sharing her bed and concentrated all his energy into the thriving industry of the mill. Indeed, business continued to flourish. Sometimes he worked long hours, often leaving early in the morning and not returning until past supper-time. Cook would not be amused on these occasions, and yet she always provided a cold meal of meat and bread and pickles, followed by one of her delicious fruit pies with custard or cream. If he was discontent in his marriage, he did not show it. True, things had not turned out in quite the way he had imagined, and yet he had a fine, healthy son, and Victoria's health had much improved. Joseph threw himself into his work, and the business prospered. As he checked over the accounts, he was delighted to see that profits were up. Yet there were moments as he rode out across Harewood Moor, the wind in his face, when his thoughts drifted back to that brief summer he had shared with Jess. Where was she now? What had become of her? He hoped that she was happy and doing well in her life wherever she was. As for himself, he had prospered well in his marriage to Victoria, and she had borne him a beautiful son. He was surrounded by luxury in their beautiful house, with the finest things that money could buy. Yet deep within, he yearned for the love he once shared with Jess. He knew it was foolish to dwell upon these things, and yet it brought him some comfort. After a while, he would return to the house to spend precious time with his son. As Francis caught sight of his papa, his small face would break into a huge smile as he toddled across the nursery. The little boy clapped his chubby hands and shrieked with excitement as his father swung him high into the air. As Francis approached his second birthday, Joseph got him a Shetland pony, and at first he was afraid to venture near the animal. However, as time passed, Francis grew fond of Toby, albeit from a distance. One day, he tugged at his father's sleeve. "Be right, Toby, Papa! Be right, Toby!" he pleaded. Joseph smiled and lifted his small son into the saddle, taking hold of the reins. Walking around the grounds with his arms supporting the small boy, Joseph felt elated, and his heart swelled with pride for his son. Francis patted Toby's head and gurgled with laughter. "Me like Toby," he said, as he kicked his heels against the pony's flank to urge him on. Joseph's precious son began to enjoy himself.